This is Sports 225 with Lee Feinswag. Sports 225 with Lee Feinswag is Baton Rouge's longest running and best television show. Who would have believed that?
My best friend, Lee Feinswag, look at the Christmas.
Sports 225 is brought to you by Breck. Remember, it all starts at Breck. Now, your host, Lee Feinswag.
They're still new every year. You know, I don't know if we have the camera angles available so that you can see Chuck Goodwin's shoes, socks, and pants, but they're purple and gold, and I'm going to actually take a picture of them at some point here so I can show it to you, and I'll do that and put it on there. But 22 years ago, we had a significant event happen in the wide world of Baton Rouge sports, and that was Sports Monday was created September 1995. So this is the 22nd year of this show. Also that year, later on, as I take this picture, and I'll put that up there now, and then I will get a nice one of you there, and then whatever. We will have that. So anyway, later that year, actually the next year in February, was the first Bayou Bash. It was a recruiting effort to promote LSU football and give guys a chance to drink some beer. That was kind of like what it was at the time, wouldn't you say?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, Chuck, of course, is in charge of that thing, and he's been on the show before. You know, makes an annual appearance beforehand. It's in 2 weeks. It's February 1st. And, man, there have been some years where it's just been out of control. It's grown so big.
It has been. In fact, the last time we had it at the Bell, which we're moved to this year.
Oh, you're back there?
We're back at the Bell. And the last time we had it there was when Coach Miles came in.
Wow. 12 years ago, huh? Yeah.
They were hanging from the rafters. That's my description of the crowd. They were hanging from the rafters that year. And we've had some other big ones, 2008, obviously, after the national championship game. 2004.
You've had some real small ones. We know where people, it's directly tied in sometimes to the level of excitement and or disgruntlement of the fans.
Right.
Yeah.
Fans, we know fans in Baton Rouge are very, very fervent, but they're also very fickle. So.
Well, win, lose, or draw, it's still a great opportunity to hang out with your buddies, drink a ton of beer if you so choose, and there's food all day, and then there's it's a good video production of the incoming players, and you get you've got media set up there, and then of course the coach speaks. And this year it's Coach Orgeron. Yeah.
He saw these pants and he said, "Great pants."
My, there's something else. All right, let's give them the gory details.
What's
it cost?
It costs $15 general admission, which will get you into the show. There's food purchase available for general admission people, and beer is available at purchase. We have 50 tables set up, 6 $3,000 tables, 6 $2,000 tables, 12 $1,500 tables, and 26 $1,000 tables, which can be bought individually as per 10, or you can. We'll take sign-ups for singles.
Nice.
So
and
$100 a piece.
And what's the advantage of a table? Of course, you don't have to mill about. You got a place to sit.
You got a place to sit, and you get food and beer all day.
Right. So. Now, tell me some of the things that are coming on with this. In addition to just every once in a while, we got a new signee, and it goes up on the wall.
Yeah, we've got coaches coming in. Coach Benari's coming in, and some of the other other head coaches, and we got a lot of players coming in. So we'll have people roaming around and people on the stage.
So it's a good chance to get autographs.
Great chance to get autographs of different people. And we have a silent auction going on, which will have a lot of great LSU memorabilia, trips, pictures, signed footballs, things like that in the silent auction. We'll have a raffle going on, so we'll be raffling off signed footballs and pictures and things like that.
And by all accounts, LSU is going to have a really good recruiting class.
Oh, it's coming together very well.
Yeah.
Coming together very well.
All right, so who do they call? What website do they go to? What do they do?
Okay, if you want to get a table, you call Tom Bro at 225-806-2884. If you want a single ticket or buy a general admission ticket, we're doing them. I'm handling that. They can call me at 225-603-4813. That's 225-603-4813.
For a good time.
Said that pretty fast.
Yes. Okay. Yes. And
So it's going to be a good time, you know, and we always have the band from LSU coming in. They're excited. They got a new band director this year. We've spoken to him, Damon, and he's got it all lined up. And we got the Golden Girls, we got cheerleaders, we got Mike the Tiger. We're just going to have a great time at the end of the day when Coach Ogeron comes in to talk about the class that he signed. So, and you know, it's interesting. We really changed the name of the bash this year. It's now the Tiger Gridiron Bayou Bash National Signing Day Party.
Try putting that acronym on a T-shirt.
That's right.
All right. If you didn't get those numbers, you'll have to watch one of the replays or go to our online show at sports225.com. He's Chuck Goodwin. It's the Bayou Bash and all that other stuff he said. When we get back, Rudy Macklin will be here, the former LSU basketball player who is in charge of the Louisiana Governor's Council on Physical Fitness and other stuff. It's a long name. I'm Lee Feinswag at Sports 225, and we'll be right back.
Hi, I'm Joe Martin, president of ITI Technical College, and I really encourage you to come out to our 12-acre campus here on Airline Highway in Baton Rouge.
Contact ITI to enroll in our Construction Management Associate and Occupational Studies degree program. Learn to plan, coordinate, budget, and supervise construction projects and collaborate with engineers and architects in the residential, commercial, industrial, and heavy civil construction industry sectors. Call now about this new, exciting career degree. ITI Technical College. Begin your journey to a better life.
All right, we're back on Sports 225. We change gears from football to basketball. My good friend Rudy Macklin here, and I butchered his title. So you tell me, you know what I asked you earlier? I said, all right, what title can I put on the thing underneath your name? And you said?
I got two titles.
All right.
I got I'm director of the Governor's Council on Physical Fitness and Sports, and I'm also the director of the Bureau of Minority Health Access. All right, so two titles, man.
And you put that all in one and expected me to put that on the thing of
No, I knew you couldn't do that. But
no,
anyway.
I know. Rudy, of course, a former LSU basketball player who came from Kentucky. It was a bold move at the time when he came here. 78?
76.
76?
Yeah,
It was that long? Oh, really?
40 plus, man.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. And then, of course, he played in the NBA for a while. And, you know, you told that story to me the first time I met you on television. I mean, we talked, but you never really told me the story about you had, just in layman's terms, a cramping problem. It was more complicated than that. But that was the damnedest thing I ever heard.
You know, for me at the time, you know, my rookie year in training camp is when it first came upon me. And they didn't have a name for it then. And turns out it runs through my family. My father has it, my sisters have it. And it just started out with a basic cramp. And all of a sudden, cramps came all over my body at the same time. And everybody's wigging out, and they rushed me to the emergency room. I'm in the hospital for a few days, and they just said, oh, give me some bananas and salt tablets and plenty of water. Well, I collapsed again. And so they realized they had to cut back my minutes, and then I had to have 2 hours of IV before I played and 2 hours afterwards.
And did that help?
It helped some, it did. And then when I got traded to the Knicks, they sent my condition over to the trainers there, and the same thing happened. In the first week of training camp, I collapsed again. And I 2 weeks in the hospital that time. And when I got out of the hospital, it took me slowly to get back in shape, and I just couldn't get quite right. And Hubie Brown, he pulled me to the side. He said, you need to find out what causes this. He said, I've never seen anything like this before. And so they released me. And after more than half a year, so I went to some specialists and all that to see what causes it, and didn't have a name for it, and all kind of dietitians. I think they took my money more than anything. And so I started feeling better and started trying to get back in shape. And so my agent said, well, if you want to get back in the NBA, you need to go to the CBA to get back in, get back in the game. And so I went to the Albany Patroons, and my head coach was Phil Jackson.
Exactly.
That was his first head
Charlie
coaching
Rosen
job.
was his assistant.
Charlie Rosen was his assistant.
Oh, my Lord.
So what I did, I kind of hid my condition a little bit from Phil. I went and rushed. I was at the hospital getting IV before the game and afterwards. And Phil's, way of coaching, you didn't play a whole lot of minutes. And we won the championship, and the Knicks wanted me to bring me back, but the Clippers came along and offered me more money. And so I went with the Clippers. And
how ultimately were you diagnosed, and what was the name of it?
The name of it eventually became hyperhidrosis. If you ever had a cramp in your leg,
I cramp like crazy.
Well, imagine having a cramp all over your body at the same time.
It hurts like hell.
Hurts like hell. And I was in the hospital with the Clippers for a few weeks, and that's when they came to me and said, Mr. Macklin, you will never be able to play this game again on this level. And I had to had some soul searching, and
That was late 80s by then, right?
yeah, and it was kind of hard because I was with the Knicks. It was my last year on contract, and I was to be the starting guard, swingman, and the next year I would have signed the big one. And so it was an opportune time. You know, it's one of those things where I guess God said, well, I got something else for you.
But if I had ever told you 30 years ago, you'd be doing the job you're doing now with the long name. But his office does so much for people who need the help, especially in rural communities around Louisiana. You know,
Yeah.
but when you were at LSU, of course, you played in the Assembly Center and you traveled to SEC cities.
Right.
You never went to North Louisiana,
Oh,
Central
man.
Louisiana, places down south where you never imagined you'd ever go, and the things that you encounter there.
It was a cultural shock, especially when you go to the top right of the state, Lake Providence and Morehouse, Madison Parish.
It's a poor parish, isn't it?
High poverty, man. It was a culture shock for me, and I saw that there was going to be a problem. We identified there was going to be a childhood obesity problem way back in '92, and I saw that a lot of the problems of childhood obesity stem from not just schools and lack of physical education and PE teachers, but also no activities after school. So a lot of park and recreations had gotten away from programming in communities and did specialized sports. And specialized sports meaning soccer, baseball, things that are real expensive for poor kids to play. And they were playing these expensive, high-profile sports on this side of the railroad track, those who had money, but the ones on the other side of the railroad track had nothing and nowhere to go to play. And so we fulfilled that need in rural, impoverished communities, set up, sports programs called the Governor's Games, to make it available for them to play. And then when they get good enough, then they can get to the big-time Governor's Games events.
Right.
And so we've been doing it all over the state. And so it's been a rewarding thing for us, and kind of a thing that I really get good satisfaction out of, to see that kids that can't afford to play non-traditional sports, because even kids that play AAU basketball, there's only a select few that can play.
Right.
Track and field, select few. Even football, select few. But what about those other kids that are not as talented? What are they going to do? And so we provide an avenue for them to play.
And there is a direct relationship between extreme poverty and obesity.
It
And
is.
And that's something you've been able to identify. And I think I'm correct from our conversations.
Yeah.
That, you have programs in place that help deal with diet and the culture of that.
Well, the thing is about it, instead of us putting money into all those contributing factors that contribute to high rates of disease and illness and death, such as diabetes, cardiovascular disease, respiratory ailments, cancer, heart disease, and stroke, why not just put your money, all your funding into one area, health issue, which is obesity? Because obesity is linked to all of those different areas, and if you can tackle obesity, you get the others too. And so we focused on one issue, which is obesity, and we feel that we can get all the others. And so we came up with different programs, and the one that we're doing now is Own Your Own Health, which is an online physical activity and nutrition tracking system where people form teams to track their steps, and they compete against one another. So you have to make it fun, because the hardest part of my job is convincing people like you to eat right and to be physically active. So I got to create ways for you to have fun and get healthy at the same time. And so Own Your Own Health has been around for a little while now. And so we got cities challenging one another now, which is cool. We got Alexandria challenging Monroe to see who can gain the most steps, and both mayors are going at it. We got Opelousas and Ville Platte going at it. We're trying to get Shreveport and New Orleans to get going. And we got Tallulah and Bastrop. And so we're waiting on Lafayette and some other cities to come along, and they're going to challenge one another. And so it's growing in popularity. The press release goes out today.
Oh, well, that's cool. All right, hold that thought. That's very interesting. I wasn't expecting that. I have you know that I eat well and I exercise a lot. He's Rudy Macklin. I'm Lee Feinswag at Sports 225, and we'll be right back. Oh, hi. I was checking out Yelphi. I do it all the time, all day, because it brings me all the news I need to know in sports. I mean, I've got a customized news feed, real-time scores. It's integrated with Facebook and Twitter. You download it on iTunes, Yelphi, Y-E-L-L-F-Y. It's a great app and a fantastic Twitter feed. He's got a meeting whenever he's got a meeting right after. He always feels a little fast. All right, we're back on Sports 225, hanging out with Rudy Macklin, who is the director of the Governor's Council on Physical Fitness and Sports.
All right.
That's one of his two jobs. They do good stuff. So I hadn't watched the NBA at all this preseason and the fall. Mm-hmm. And then I finally said, all right, I'm going to catch up. And I did it on Christmas Day. Mm-hmm. So I watched the Cavaliers play the Golden State Warriors. Mm-hmm. Rudy, now I know you're a big, strong man, okay? And you played in the NBA. Yeah. But when you played in the NBA, I want to think there was a little bit more of a finesse involved than what it is now. It is nothing short of wrestling. It is tight ends going up against big, strong safeties. The violence level, the clutch and grab, the actual pounding, it blew my mind. And I feel like it's just escalated so much in the last couple of years. Am I wrong?
Yeah, it hasn't really. It's just that particular game between two behemoths for prime time. They let them get away with a lot. But the game has kind of been softened up a little bit now. Back in my day, you were able to hand check.
Right.
Okay, and you were also able to put the wood, we call them, the forearm in the chest or the arm. When they come across the lane, you was expected to hit that person and not have a free
and maybe
free
because
run.
it was brought in and you were doing it in here instead of out here and instead of like this. Maybe that's what I'm thinking.
Yeah, but the hand checking and not being able to use the forearm, especially on the low post, that's all gone away. They're trying to increase scoring in the NBA. Plus, they have a lot of fights back then with the bad boys, and we got into a couple of scuffles.
You ever get into an NBA fight?
No. Well, I did. Just a little shoving match. Me and Ricky Sobers, with the Chicago Bulls. Yeah. So after we said, "Come on, let's have a."
He could run faster than you. So
But the thing is about after the game, he said, "Come on, let's go have a drink." He said he just don't take it personal.
Right.
It's just a game.
Yeah.
And so I learned from that. And Bob Lanier, before he left the game, he threw a pick on me so hard in the lane, and I hit the ground and jumped back up. Come on, Bob, don't do that. Because I realized he's 6'11", weigh about 300 pounds. What am I going to do? So you just stayed in your lane. You stay with the guards and the forwards, lead the power forwards and the centers to their deal. Yeah.
Here's a note for you. Bob Lanier has a daughter named Kalia Lanier, who this year was a freshman at USC as a volleyball player.
Really?
And one of the top 5 or 6 freshmen in the whole country.
How tall is she?
I think she's 6'3".
Okay.
And she's a super player. And
Man.
we was in the world of college volleyball, there are a ton of former NBA tied-in players. Steve Kerr's daughter played for Cal. I think she just finished up, just among others. Steph Curry's sister plays right now.
Yeah, I heard that.
I can't remember. Somewhere on the East Coast. And I could go on and on. I don't want you to turn off the TV, so don't. I won't go on a tangent. So, you want to talk some college basketball?
Yeah, if you'd like.
Well,
it's interesting.
It's obviously, you're wearing that purple and gold shirt, and of course you played for LSU, and the college game's a lot different than it used to be. But the LSU basketball team is a very disconcerting program to watch right now. Is that tactfully phrased enough?
It is. It's kind of painful to watch. I feel for my good friend, Johnny. Hell of a recruiter. Okay, he can bring in the best, but it's kind of difficult to bring in 5-star recruits and get them to play within your system. It's very difficult because they were stars in high school, and now you're asking them to come to college and say, I need you to tone it down a little bit. I need you to probably set an extra pick for somebody or make an extra pass a couple of times, and I'm going to ask you to play much tougher defense because in high school you probably were hidden on defense, but now you're going to be exposed because you played against better players.
And hidden so you wouldn't get in foul trouble, right? Not because you couldn't play defense.
And because you were required to score more.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
And so it looked like he has a collection of those type of players, and there's not really any leadership out there. Somebody that can take control of the game every so often when need be that they can count on, and there's not really any tough players out there. And so he's really in a bind right now. It's some things that he probably thinks he probably should have done differently in terms of coaching, the development of players, even during the ball games itself. He probably could have done some things different. But I look at his talent pool on that bench, and for some reason they cannot play on-ball or off-ball defense. And if you can't play defense in this league or in any league, you're not going to win.
Yeah.
And so that's something that they lack.
All right. I got 2 conceptual basketball questions for you, but I'll ask them when we get back because we only got a little bit of time left on the show.
All right.
He's Rudy Macklin. I'm Lee Feinswag at Sports 225.
It was nearly a decade ago that Brett teamed up to Imagine Your Parks, and you imagined big. 12 beautiful community parks from one end of the parish to the other, 1 family-sized water park, and 5 other parks just for your dogs. You have places to splash and places to explore. You have games to play and camps galore. No matter what you like to do or see, visit Breck.org and see how together we have made Breck better than imagined.
Coming down the home stretch of Sports 225. Thanks to Chuck Goodwin from the Bayou Recruiting Bash for being here earlier, and of course to Rudy, to John Williams from JCW for directing the show, and all the show times, the listings, the replays, and our online airing are at sports225.com. So, all right, I told you I was going to get you 2 questions. So I'm sitting with an NBA scout, and we're watching the game not too long ago. LSU Vanderbilt, and we were both kind of aghast at the way the game was being played. And I said to him, and I know this is a hypothetical question, and it may be rhetorical, but I come from the world of volleyball, where Stanford just won the NCAA volleyball championship with 4 freshmen. And our sport is producing kids who are moving into college ready to play. They know how to play the game. They're ready to play the game at the highest level. They understand it on all levels.
Right.
College basketball is not doing that.
Not
Why?
now. Because of the three-point line. But, the three-point line.
You may have just answered the next question.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, the three-point line, when you get to the youngest level, elementary, middle school, and even high school, every kid, you give them a ball, the first thing they'll do is go to the three-point line. When I was a kid, when you give me a ball, I go to the mid-range and look to play one-on-one against somebody, okay? Because we always had this game, a warm-up game before every pickup game called 21.
Right.
Okay, everybody played 21. But there was no three-point line
love
at the
21,
time.
yeah.
And so we were taught the mid-range game how to score, because you have a lot of shooters now, but not scorers. And so when they get to the college level, their skills as far as the mid-range is not developed. The small forward has disappeared. The low post has disappeared.
So you're blaming this more on that than what a lot of people think it's because of AAU basketball and kids not being instructed properly and pushing them along.
I wouldn't totally put it on the backs of AAU.
Right.
Yes, they have their issues with AAU.
Right.
True
So
enough.
in the remaining time I have left, I think you may have already answered the question. If I made you the czar of basketball, all of basketball, and you could make one rule change, what would be the first rule?
Eliminate the three-point line.
Bam! I knew he was going to say that, and that's. I agree with you so much. I had lunch this summer with Bob Ryan. You know Bob, the Boston Globe columnist and ESPN guy, and we were sitting there, and Brenda gets so sick of me railing on about the three-point shot. And I said to Bob, if you were the czar of basketball, and the first thing Bob said was I would eliminate the three-point shot. I went crazy in this restaurant. Brenda goes, oh, just stop it. All right. Thank you for answering that.
Well, no problem.
You're doing great stuff in your job and in your department, and it's always fun to talk some hoops. And
Thank you for having me.
At LSU basketball. As I told you earlier, go to sports225.com to check out all the listings. And if you missed the early part with Chuck Goodwin, got the phone numbers up there on who to call for the Bayou Bash. Rudy Macklin, thank you. Thank you for watching. This has been Sports 225.
At carnival time by Baton Rouge Bay, that's the site of my story. At Spanish Town Mardi Gras, things can get blurry. See the mowers marching, prizes fill the sky. This Spanish Town Mardi Gras, may it never die. Poetry was everywhere, sweet music filled the air, and just then she glanced my way.